thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your patience. I understand that we are the last podcast of this celebration of 2022. So what I want to do is actually just give a round of applause to the previous podcasters that have been on this stage, and just thank them, and they, podcasting is not an easy business. It's not a.
You better say that.
Yeah. It's,
Amen.
But we're fortunate to have a platform where we can,
just
speak
podcast.
our mind. Yes, right. Speak our mind.
Talk about Star Wars.
Be ourselves. Yes, absolutely, and just talk about Star Wars as much as we want. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So this is Memorial Weekend, and I want
The
to.
day before Memorial Day, Monday.
That's right. Tomorrow's Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I want to take you back to a long time ago. This is 39 years ago, 1983. I was living in Brooklyn. My two friends and I were making plans to go see Return of the Jedi. And like I said, we were in Brooklyn, and I mentioned, what I said to my buddies is that we have to go to Manhattan to see it. But why do we have to go all the way to Manhattan? Well, we have to go because they have the best movie theaters in Manhattan, okay? And this was Return of the Jedi, and I knew that we needed to see it in a theater that had this big screen, Dolby surround sound, 70 millimeter. They didn't have that in Brooklyn as far as I know at the time. So we went to Manhattan. We took in, if you don't know Brooklyn, taking the A train from Rockaway Avenue from Brooklyn to 42nd Street in Manhattan is about an hour ride. All right, yeah. So, but we were serious. We wanted to make sure that we saw it at the best theater. We got there, and we got off the station and walked 2 blocks over to the movie theater, bought our tickets, waited in line to buy our tickets, and then left that line and waited in another line for 2 more hours to see the movie. So after 2 hours, we finally got in to see the movie, and we got to our seats. We sat down in the middle so that we can get the best view, and we just waited for the lights to dim, and then that fanfare, that 20th Century Fox fanfare played, and then you saw the Lucasfilm logo, and then a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and then when that trumpet blast hit, the place went nuts. It was crazy. And I talk about that moment because I remember it as if it just happened yesterday. So it was a very wonderful movement experience. We had so much to cheer for. If you look at what happened in The Empire Strikes Back to the heroes versus Return of the Jedi, the heroes were winning.
Oh, it really turned around for them.
It turned around. And
they had sore loss in The Empire Strikes Back.
We did, but Return of the Jedi just took it in another direction, and all we did was cheer and yell and scream. It was the best movie-going experience I've ever had.
Yeah, so. Like when they showed the Bad Batch trailer.
Okay, we haven't talked about the trailer yet, right? It's not available yet.
True.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's available.
It is available? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Never mind then. I can talk about it as much as I want.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so no spoilers. We're not going to give it away.
Okay, then.
We're not going to give it away. Okay. And we talked about that movie once we left the theater, and we talked about it on the train ride back home. We just loved that movie. And, after 1983, we called it the dark period, where there was no Star Wars going on for a very long time. And it felt very lonely to be a Star Wars person, for me at least, because I, throughout high school and college, and even on my, the various jobs that I've had, I've never ran into anyone who loves Star Wars. Never even heard of Star Wars, So it would just be me, wherever I am, resorting to popping in that VHS into the VCR, or watching it on a DVD player. It was just me, But then the prequels came, of course, but they came, and there were the 3 films, and they were gone, and then Star Wars was gone again.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah. And, you know, time passes on, and, you know, in 2010, I got married. 2011, you know, I had my firstborn, baby boy here. And in 2012, I saw this announcement. Well, not an announcement, but I saw this headline that says, Disney buys Lucasfilm. I said, okay, wow, that's interesting. Not only that, they're going to make the sequel trilogy. And I was unsure about that because I am an OT person. I love the original trilogy. I don't think anything can beat the original trilogy.
Well,
So I was a little skeptical. Even though I knew that, Han and Luke and Leia were going to come back, I just didn't think that they would be able to capture the magic that the original trilogy had. But Lucasfilm and Disney convinced me. I saw the trailer, the first trailer for The Force Awakens, and when I saw that, the first person that I saw appear on the screen was John Boyega in a Stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. It just took me back. Like, wow, I can't believe what I just saw. And then the second trailer with that classic line now, Chewie, we're home.
Wait, do it.
You ready? Okay, we're gonna do one. Chewie, we're home. That's the line. After that line, I was hooked, I was ready. Okay, Force Awakens, tell me where I need to be, when I get the tickets. And I remember the movie was coming out December 15th or the 17th of 2015.
Yeah, they usually come out right before my birthday.
Right, yeah, during the holidays. And 3 months, I was counting down to December. And in September, 3 months before the movie released, I got a notice from my job that I was getting let go. So I lost my job in September. And, I said to myself, okay, well, no big deal, I'll get another job. I've been working since I was the age of 16. If I leave a job 1 week, I get a job the next week, so I'm not worried. Well, that was not the case. So it was September, 3 months later, when The Force Awakens came out, I was still unemployed. So I just needed something, to break up my monotonous going job hunting and, talking to recruiters and talking to hiring managers and not getting the offer I was looking for. So Star Wars was my escape. So I could not wait for The Force Awakens to come out, and I saw it on Thursday, the opening night, and it was fantastic.
Saw it again.
Yep, and then saw it again Friday the next day. So it was wonderful. Now I'm in the store, Barnes & Noble bookstore, and I'm in the children's section. I come across these little golden books of the first 6 Star Wars films.
Yeah, we still have them, even today, the original.
Yeah.
And then he bought The Force Awakens as a golden book too. We still have that one.
Yeah, we finally got the sequel as well, so we have all 12 books. But I was so excited, I grabbed...
There's 9.
Did I say 12?
Yes.
Okay. 9 books, right. So I grabbed them and, bought them and brought them home, and I said to Tanya, my wife, do you think Keith would be interested in reading these little golden books?
My mom.
Yeah, and she said, well, why don't you find out, give it to him. So we did, and he loved them. He loved the books. He just kept reading them over and over. And you were about 4 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
And you just loved them. I mean, you read them so much, like you wore out some of the pages, throughout the years. And to hear your son come up to you, and you're a Star Wars fan, or, son or daughter come up to you and say these magic words, Dad, can I watch Star Wars?
And my dad, he just like, he got all giddy and he started laughing for some reason. And I was like, okay.
Absolutely, you can watch Star Wars. Yes, let's go. And we watched in order, right? Order
yeah, we
release.
started
with
watching
A New Hope. Yeah, and I'm saying this because I'm still out of work, but I had time to bond with my child and watch these movies, almost back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we loved it. And for the first time in so many years, since the time I went to the movies with my 2 buddies, he is now the only person I've known, besides those 2, who love Star Wars as much as I do. So now I no longer have to watch Star Wars by myself. So
yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. And it didn't stop with the movies. I mean, he had a passion for, just, Galaxy, about the characters and the storylines, and, it introduced him to Lego, so he got into Lego Star Wars. And yeah.
I built a lot of Lego sets. I still do, in fact. I just built the Death Star, the mini Death Star.
Yeah.
And then AT-AT too. We got those at the Lego giveaway.
Right. And, right, to this day, you still enjoy Lego.
Yeah.
But it started with the first one. I think it was the carbon freeze chamber.
No, it was the Obi-Wan interceptor.
Okay, so we're in the store, and we're going to, in the Lego section, and you said, Dad, can I get this? And I said, okay, well, how much is it? And I look at the price, I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I'm not working, but yes, I'm gonna get it for you. So let's get it. Then came the carbon freeze chamber.
Yeah, and then the Captain Rex
Rex
AT, the Beta Transformation Chamber.
And every time I open my wallet is crying. Tears are flowing out of my wallet. And I know
Tears
that
of lost change.
yeah, I should not be buying these, I'm out of work. I should not, this is not, top priority. But there was a spark in my son's eyes that there was something that interested him so much at Star Wars and Legos. I mean, he's putting these pieces, he's 4 or 5 years old, putting these pieces together all by himself, just snapping them together. So I didn't want that to stop.
It worked then. I can't pull that trick now.
Yes, you can.
Thank you for telling me that, Dad.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll see. All right, I'm being nice. So then, let's fast forward to 2020, and we know what happened in 2020. We were all impacted by the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had to live our new normal lives, and that meant you being at home, having virtual school, virtual learning. I was working from home. They were very limited to what we could do at home. Yeah.
Staring at that iPad screen was the answer to everything.
Right, yeah. We spent a lot of time on the computer. Everything is done on the computer. Zoom,
that and candy bars.
Zoom meetings and candy bars to get you going, keep you going, right? I mean, we took road trips, we would get in the car and
we would just drive. We started listening to NPR in the car.
Yeah, we learned
I
about
still listen to Planet Money.
He's a fan of Planet Money. No joke. Yeah, so we just try to find things to bide our time. And, we, again, needed an escape because virtual homeschooling was not ideal. It was not.
No.
Keith doesn't like to talk about it. It was, not a good experience for him or Maceo. But, so, again, we needed an escape. And we had to look around and figure out, okay, well, what is it that we can do, what we would like to do to make us happy, to keep us going. And we found that escape by watching The Mandalorian on Disney+.
Yeah, and then every dinner after we watched the episode, we would just sit down and have a dinner time conversation or a breakfast conversation about the episode. And then Mom, who is standing up right now recording us, like she always does, she started recording the podcast, sort of.
She was
for
recording
the early
us.
Stages, so she would record us
At the table.
and then she'd post it on Facebook and be like, "Yeah, you guys, you gotta start shooting this as a podcast. You gotta officially post these on YouTube and stuff." And then me and my dad were like, "Nah, it seems like a lot of work." And my mom was like, "Well, you be filling a niche. There's not a lot of podcasters out there, not a lot of father and son teams who do these podcasts, and not a lot of father and son teams doing Star Wars podcasts that look like you."
That looked like us.
Well,
Yeah.
So thank you, Mom.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Tanya was
Mom.
right. But I still said no. I just didn't want to do a podcast. But, Tanya did not take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And she reached out to her friend
All
in
the way in Australia.
Because her friend has a podcast that she does. I keep hitting this microphone.
So she asked her friend what to do, what microphones to get, what camera equipment. And Zoom was the norm at that time, so my mom started using Zoom to record us. And then a bunch of editing software that I got into and stuff. And then me and my dad and my brother, we all went out for a walk. We come back. There's a bunch of boxes strewn all over the floor, and there's podcast equipment on our brand new table, and I'm like, I guess we're doing a podcast.
Yeah. So then, and that started in March of 2021. So we've been here a little over a year.
Yeah, we started doing our very first tapes in late February.
Yes.
Before we started to release them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and we've recorded like a little over
70 episodes.
Over 70 episodes, and like Keith said, he did take an editing class.
Yeah, back in 2020, it was a stop motion class. I
Right.
still remember it. And then that's what got me started, because I started using software like iMovie, and then one of my friends at school recommended this app called CapCut, so now I use that.
Yeah, and those recordings that we've had, those little over 70 recordings, have all been edited by Keith. He edited every single
Since episode 5, I've been editing. Yep.
So
I also have to thank my gifted teacher, because she taught me how to do early stop motion, Miss Callahan. So I have to thank her.
Wonderful. Yeah. So it's a family operation, and
Yep.
Tanya knew nothing about producing a podcast show, but she got the answers she needed, and here we are. 1 year later, we're at Star Wars Celebration.
And me and you, we had absolutely no idea
No,
how to host a podcast. It was like out of the question for us.
Yeah.
None of us would have thought we'd be hosting a podcast in the middle of a pandemic and juggling school or dad's case work.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we're doing it. And I have fun because we shoot weekly and stuff. And it's just hilarious because my dad makes all these jokes and so do I.
Mm-hmm.
And then I edit, we send it to YouTube, and that's it. My mom, she's also the one who made all these stickers and business cards. So give her a big round of applause for that. Yeah.
Absolutely true.
My mom's the PR person.
And also the PR person. She wears many hats.
Yes. Like 20 of them.
So, okay, let's move into our theme.
Alright, so this episode's theme is going to be mainly about family. So, Star Wars is about family, but not just like your immediate family, also extended family. Our friends, teachers, mentors, colleagues, classmates, you name it, they all make up a big role in our lives and how we live. And other members of the community as well do the same thing. And even in Star Wars, they have to help people to find their place in the galaxy.
Absolutely.
So we're going to bring up a couple of examples in Star Wars of family moments.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to talk about 3 families in particular. Just
really
different
resonated
families.
with us.
Yes, right. Different families, different dynamics, what they're going through.
And
Yeah,
how
so
they
we'll
all
touch on-
achieved a common goal.
That's right, yeah. And so we're going to touch on 3. So the first one is we are big Rebels fans. And I see a couple of Rebels fans.
Cosplayers right there.
Right here. So we love talking about Rebels. The Ghost Crew, to us, we would call them the extended family, right? And the Ghost Crew, what they have in common is that their lives have been impacted by the Empire.
Yep, because from Zeb's planet being invaded to Ezra's parents becoming rebels early on,
Right.
to Sabine going to the Imperial Academy.
Yes.
All of this, they've all been affected by the Empire throughout their entire lives.
Exactly.
And then they all bond over that.
Right. So they all came from, different parts of the galaxy.
Yeah, all the way from the outer rim to the mid rim to wild space to wherever they came from.
Yes, right. And they were brought together for the common goal of creating this rebellion.
To fight the Empire.
To fight the Empire, right. And if you watch Rebels, you know how much the members love each other.
Yeah.
They will go and fight for each other. That's how much they love each other. Sometimes if it means sacrificing themselves to save the other members of the family, that's exactly what they would do.
Yeah.
Whenever one of the members get in trouble, the other ones are going after that person and trying to save them, saving the day.
Like in season 1, Ezra was at the Imperial Academy, and everybody else was trying to do their part to break him out and stuff, to help him on their mission. Because they were trying to infiltrate the Imperials and stuff. But they all work together for one common goal because they're trying to help each other and also the rest of the galaxy.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, I mean, everyday families aren't trying to save the whole world, but you get it.
Yeah. That's it. It's just the love. That's the important thing. They show, and they argue, with each other.
Yeah,
like
they fight
family members would
sometimes,
do, right?
especially Zeb and Ezra. They just go at it sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's like brothers, two brothers.
Yeah.
So that's number one. That's the extended family. So let's talk about. You ready to talk about the second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
we're gonna
second
talk
one would
about-
have to be Obi-Wan, Uncle Owen, and Aunt Beru. And
Okay.
also Luke, the blended family.
The blended family. Okay. All right. So of course, we just saw the first. Well, I'm assuming we all saw the first two episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
We're not going to spoil it for you, though.
Exactly.
Even if you have seen it.
Yes, we're not going to spoil it. But what I'm excited about for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is the dynamic between Owen Mars
And Obi-Wan Kenobi.
and Ben Kenobi, because they're like two parents with joint custody. If you take
they both want to help Luke, but they don't have the same methods. Because Obi-Wan wants him to follow in Anakin's footsteps, become a Jedi, get trained, and Owen's like, no. Look at what you did to Anakin. I don't want this to happen to my kid. He gave it to me, so he's my responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you do that at all, because he's trying to protect Luke, and so is Obi-Wan. But they don't agree on how to do it, and that's what puts them at odds with each other, because they fight all the time.
They clash.
Yeah.
And when you have two great actors, Joel Edgerton and Ewan McGregor in a scene, you just know sparks are going to fly.
Yeah.
So I am, one of the things I'm looking forward to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I want to talk about Aunt Beru, because I think that in this series she's going to play a pivotal role.
Yeah, she might even have to be like the middleman, because
Yes.
she understands where Obi-Wan and Owen are coming from, but she's gonna try to get them to agree, because they both want the same thing, just different methods of getting it.
Yes.
So she's probably gonna have to try to get them to work together at one point.
Exactly. They all three of them want one thing. They want to make sure that Luke gets the best care, that he's loved, and he is safe.
Yeah, that he
Right?
cares for.
Exactly. So I believe that Luke's strength and determination will come from Aunt Beru. And obviously I have not seen any of the future episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I would love to see a quiet scene with Beru and Luke. Let's say at night on Tatooine, she's tucking Luke into bed, and she asks Luke, "Well, Luke, who do you want to be when you grow up?" And Luke says, "I want to be a pilot. I want to be a pilot. I want to work for the academy, and I want to see the stars. I want to see the galaxy." And then she would say, "Well, if that's who you want to be, if that's what you want to do, that's exactly what will happen. That's exactly who you will be." And then that plants the seed in Luke's head to become this pilot.
Because
Yeah.
even though Beru, she sort of agrees with Owen a little bit about trying to keep Luke safe, she also knows that this is what Luke wants to do, so they don't want to stop their child from, they don't want to try to clip their child's wings, because they're trying to fly and do something. They're literally trying to fly in that, because, Luke wants to be a pilot, and she doesn't want to, destroy his dreams.
Correct.
And neither does Owen, but he just doesn't want Luke to get hurt. So that's why he's always been so stern and strict to Luke, and also, sort of curt to Owen. I mean, not Owen, Obi-Wan. Yeah, he wants Luke to be safe, not to get hurt going out on these crazy galactic space adventures.
Right. And she's going to understand Luke more than she, meaning Beru's going to understand Luke more than Owen understands Luke. I think the relationship with Owen and Luke
It's rocky.
it could be strained. Maybe Owen is not that type of person who can open up, talk about his dreams. Maybe Owen had his own dreams of becoming something, and his father wanted him to be this farmer. And that was his life, of farming. That's all he knows.
So
And
that's what
he
Owen
wants
did.
Luke. Right, and that's what he wants Luke to be. But Luke needs to speak to Aunt Beru. It's like Aunt Beru is going to understand that, well, we know farming is not for you. I want you to keep in touch with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So
Yeah.
maybe every once in a while she'll take him there to see Obi-Wan. And then, maybe he'll have a conversation with Ben and, they'll create a formal relationship with the two of them, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, in New Hope, Luke already knew about Ben and
Right.
where he lived.
Right.
But he'd have to have met Ben before. So you're right, Dad. Maybe Aunt Beru does help him to get to know Obi-Wan better.
Yeah, I think she would be the one to maybe take him there or maybe have an arrangement for
Yeah.
Ben and Luke to meet, What I can say about Owen and Ben, that although they may have different ways or different methods to take care of Luke, that they both respect each other.
Yeah, even though
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it all the time because they fight like cats and dogs. But they both respect each other deep down because they both have the same morals. Also, they
Yeah.
want to help Luke, just don't agree on how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
happens sometimes.
It does happen sometimes, yeah.
And that takes us to our final family,
Okay.
which would be the Bad Batch.
Okay. All right. So I am the father of two boys. And my son Maceo was born 14 months after Keith.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about 2016, what happened in 2016, when I was out looking for work. Well, one of the things that we were experiencing at that time, Maceo was 3 years
Diagnosed with
old.
autism at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So we got...
So we started taking him to therapy and stuff. And then that was my schedule so messed up because I was going to summer camp right before that. So then my mom would have to drive, pick me up at summer camp, get back to help Maceo at therapy, and then drive us both back home to help Dad out with all this stuff because Dad was still looking for a job at that point, right before he got one. And then, Dad, you got a job in Pennsylvania, so that you had to drive to Pennsylvania for the week, and then you would come back for the weekend, and then leave Sunday night to drive back for the 2 hours to get to Pennsylvania. So we were all commuting, and then Mom would be the one driving around to pick us all up.
Yes, to take you to appointments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're still learning autism, what it means to be autistic and
Yeah.
what type of needs that we need to have for Maceo to function.
Precisely.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, it does take years of therapy, we're aware of that. And lots of patience, right?
Yeah.
Lots of time. So I was wondering if there was anything, if there is something in Star Wars that touches on people, who people may consider not
On the different end of the spectrum.
on a different end of the spectrum. They're not, they would say that maybe they're different.
Yeah.
If there is a conversation in Star Wars in regards to being different, right, and accepting the differences in people.
Yeah.
So I was watching the Clone Wars, and there was season 7, episode 1. Every episode you
They
have
have that
this
little precept at the beginning.
right where it's like a
Proverb.
word,
Oh,
word of
fortune
advice. Yes, right.
Yeah, it's a
Or
fortune.
right, or this lesson that you're going to learn after you watch the episode. So this episode, this was season 7, episode 1, and the lesson is embrace others for their differences, for that makes you whole. Right?
Yep, words
And
to
that-
live by.
Yeah, and that was the introduction to the Bad Batch. And if you know about the Bad Batch, they're described. If you're depending on who's doing the talking, the regs. Like the
The
normal
clothes,
clones, right?
the regular clothes.
The regular clones would refer to the Bad Batch as defective clones.
Yeah,
And
America's always like, we're not defective, we're enhanced.
Right.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it as well as Dean Bradley Baker does, but I can sort of do it.
that was good. That was good. No, it was interesting because when we went to the panel, this was brought up. about the word defective. And D. Bradley Baker mentioned that no, they're not defective, they're just enhanced clones, which I agree with. So when I saw this episode, this is how it resonated with me. I was thinking about my son. I was thinking about Maceo, that, people are looking at him as he's not normal, or he's defective, or he can't do everything, he can't do what normal people do, what people say. He gets the looks. When he has outbursts, he'll get looks from total strangers who will, look at him and look at us, thinking maybe, there's a parenting issue going on.
Or the pains that you control.
Right, you get those facial expressions.
Yeah, the raised eyebrows.
Yes, right.
I'm used to all of it.
Yeah. The Bad Batch was going through the same thing.
Yeah, because nobody really understood them.
Right. So even their own family, because I look at the clones as family, right? Like
the clones are like the very, 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 very large group of cousins that you never speak to unless you have to.
Right.
Because there's too many of them.
Yeah, right.
I mean, imagine these clone troopers' phone books. Do you know how hard it must be to identify every single one because they all wear the same helmet?
They all look the same, right? True.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and I remember the lunchroom scene, like in the first episode of the Bad Batch, and they couldn't even sit with the regs. They were just separated and just shunned from everybody else, and they had to get their own table. And
reminds me of like lunch at school or something.
And there was a food fight, within their own family. And we get that looks too as well. There are some family members, some friends who look at us that way. That well, what's wrong with your son? What's going on? So my point to this is that they're not defective.
Right.
Maceo's not defective. He just has enhanced capabilities, just like the Bad Batch.
There's no such thing as a defective person.
Exactly.
There is such a thing as a defective phone, but that's because it's a phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what I take away from the Bad Batch is that they may look different, or they may act differently, or they may think differently, but ultimately they get the job done.
Yeah.
Right? They get the job done. And that's all I'm asking for, for Maceo to do the same thing. He is capable of accomplishing so many things, right? But he may get there in a
different way than
in a different direction. But ultimately, he gets the job done.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the lesson I take away from the Bad Batch. That is why I'm such a fan of them, because it's every mission that you give them, it doesn't matter.
They still finish it, right? And they still get it done.
It's unconventional how they get it done, but it gets done, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you know my son, if he likes you, he will tell you, because he gives you that eye contact. He'll look you right in the eye, and he'll smile at you,
smile,
or he'll
melting your heart.
Right, and he'll grab you by the neck, and he'll give you pecks on the cheek.
Yeah, he'll start hugging you and stuff.
Yeah, and he loves music.
Yeah. Like me, because I play the flute.
Exactly.
And Maceo plays the cello.
The cello, right?
And he's starting to learn how to play the xylophone.
Right, and I remember the time when you and Mom were out in the park with Maceo.
Yeah, and we went Maceo's music teacher, Miss Layer. We've actually interviewed her on the podcast. Mm-hmm. But we met her, and she was like, I want to teach your son the cello, talking to Mom.
Yeah.
And then that's how we do. Maceo had an interest for music.
Right. And a year later, she's sending us pictures and video of Maceo actually putting the bow to the strings and playing and playing the cello. Yes. So he can do it. It takes time, it'll take longer, but it can be done. Yeah. Right? He gets the job done. So that's wonderful. So I just want to encourage him. Is he not here? I guess they. Is he? Oh, he is. He's quiet. Okay.
He's watching. He's watching PBS.
So I, just want to say that I love my boys. And I want nothing but the best for them. And so this podcast is about family, because Star Wars is about family. And, we just want to just let you know that Star Wars is about love,
Yeah.
right?
All these families are different,
Yes,
but they're all the same because at the core, they love each other.
Right.
They all love each other.
right.
Yeah.
And, you have family members that you love, but sometimes you may not like what they do,
Yeah, sometimes you don't
or
always
they
agree with them.
don't make the right decisions, or,
Yeah, like with the Bad Batch, spoilers here. But you know how Crosshair does the crazy things,
yeah,
and then the whole family they weren't even expecting it, and
Yeah.
Crosshair hurt them all. But he was hurt too because he felt like that he wasn't given a voice. Nobody was listening to him and stuff.
right.
Because he's like, you weren't there for me.
Yeah, so there's a lot of lessons that you can learn from Star Wars that you can take away. But if you just look at the theme of most of these Star Wars episodes, Clone Wars episodes, or Bad Batch episodes, or even in the films, it has something to do with family. It comes back down to family.
Exactly.
Making the right decision, making the wrong decision. Why did I make this decision? And, what lesson do I learn from the decisions that I make? That's what Star Wars is about. So we wanted our podcast to be a positive one. And,
And we really wanted to speak on things like that.
right. And we are aware that, there are, people in the Star Wars community who want Star Wars one way, which is their way,
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and that's a very selfish way to look at Star Wars. It's not about one thing.
It's not about one person's ideology and how Star Wars should look. It's not singularly viewed
Yes,
because they have to make it for everyone.
it has
Star
to be for
Wars is
everyone.
a galaxy for everyone.
Exactly, it's a galaxy for everyone. So, absolutely. I want to thank Lucasfilm and Repop for having us here. We are overjoyed to be here.
Yeah.
We hope to get invited again next time. But we also want to encourage Lucasfilm to continue to just create,
Inspire,
and
do
imagine.
everything they're doing right now.
Exactly, right. Just
Keep making good shows. I'm excited for Tales of the Jedi and Andor, Mandalorian season 3, Bad Batch season 2. There's a lot of stuff coming now.
Yes. And I personally want to thank Star Wars for just being here for me and my family through the highs and lows. There were times when, times were tough.
Yeah,
and
the
I had
highlights
to
and the hard times.
I had to rely on Star Wars to just get me through it. I don't know if anyone feels the same way, if Star
Well.
Wars has done the same thing for you. But yeah, and this 15-year-old me is still alive. The same 15-year-old who went to see Return of the Jedi for the first time is still here. And thank you for continuing to keep that person here. I love Star Wars. I've always loved Star Wars. I think about some of the family members who have these sports teams that they love to cheer for.
Yeah.
And sometimes they win, and sometimes they lose. So, but it doesn't matter. You're still a fan. So we will always be a fan of Star Wars. And just thank you once again for coming. We want to leave time for questions, if there are any.
Any questions, anything you want to
And
say, any ideas you have?
And once again, Star Wars, it's been here for 45 years. It needs to be here for another 45 years because it's intergenerational.
And let's hope we can make it 100.
Yeah, so just,
The 100th anniversary of Star Wars. Wouldn't that be something?
yeah, right. And just keep passing on your love for Star Wars to the next generation. All right.
The cameras they used in 2020 would look so old in 2099. And then there's
I will look very old in 2099 too.
all those cameras they used back in like 1950.
Yeah.
Nobody would even remember it.
Do we have any questions? Any questions or comments? Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
I'm wondering, are there any particular Star Wars characters that inspire you as much as their stories do?
For me, I would say Ahsoka, because, she reminds me of me.
Hey.
Yeah, like an adventurous person, somebody who's always ready to take on the problem. They make mistakes sometimes, but you have to accept the mistakes. You gotta keep going on, keep doing what you do.
Yeah, and Ahsoka had a very, very interesting character arc.
Yep.
You know, I always go back to the time when, you know, she was framed. You know, we know that
Blackest
story.
Charms.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know,
The Jedi were like,
yeah,
oh, we don't know you anymore.
the Jedi didn't stand up for her when she needed them.
I mean, Anakin was the only one who actually believes her at all. Because they all just, they were ready to turn their backs on her the second one incident happened.
Yeah,
They didn't even wait to hear what she had to say, just got rid of her.
yeah, yeah. But she pulled through, you know, and she decided to walk away, even when they came back and said, you know, we're sorry. You know, we were just testing you. You know, we just wanted to see how you're gonna handle this test. And she says, all right, well, no, thank you. I'm out of here. I'm gone. You know, and she just continued to live her life. Yeah, yeah. For me, I would say Anakin.
Okay.
I was a fan of Darth Vader before I knew who Anakin was. You know, I just loved. I'll be superficial. I love Darth Vader because he has a cool costume, and he's got the cape, and he sounds like James Earl Jones.
Okay.
And when you hear the theme, you
Yeah.
know he's coming. Like when you just see that one foot step off of the shuttle, and then the other foot, and then the cape.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's Vader.
Yes, he's just so intimidating. I just love that. You know, he's just a great villain. But then when I started to learn more about his backstory, and you know, more and more I realized that Anakin, what happened with Anakin was not all of his fault. Now I don't want to go into it because it would take a long time to talk about it. But he was misguided, and misled by a lot of people. You know, the Jedi included.
Reasons.
Yeah.
So
Those Jedi, they make a lot of people mad.
they do, and I just wonder. I think one of the problems is that they wanted Anakin to be the Jedi that they wanted him to be, rather than let Anakin be Anakin. You know, and I think if that was the case, if they were to let him be himself, that things would have turned out much different for him. Yeah.
Exactly. They treated him like dirt. And then they were like, oh, Anakin, you're the best, you're the best. Right when he got the lightsaber out and was about to start fighting them.
Yeah, Palpatine really knew how to.
He knew how to press Anakin's buttons.
There you go.
And then
Absolutely.
like turn him. Because he wasn't originally evil. I mean, he had some issues.
Yes.
But he wasn't about to just full turn on the Jedi. And then Palpatine, he knew how to pull the right strings to get Anakin going, to trick him into thinking he could save Padme, and then just let him fall from there.
Exactly. So yeah. So that's it. Yeah, Anakin and Ahsoka are
Yeah.
two favorites. Did you have a question?
I did.
Yes.
How much prep time do y'all spend to get ready for your podcast?
Good
I'd
question.
say like
Yeah.
maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours.
You're
Because,
doing
you know,
everything, you're like ready for it?
yeah, we'll usually rehearse the script. Mom does all the setting up and stuff, getting the cameras ready to shoot with us for the Zoom stuff. If we're interviewing, it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
Because then we have to set up for the interview and stuff, make sure people can hear us,
Well, even before that, if we're interviewing someone, we have to make sure
prepare
that we're able.
questions, do a lot of research.
Well, yes, right, and then just actually get that person. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
not very easy to get in touch with that person and set up an appointment,
A good
or
time.
a date, right, to shoot. Yeah, so that takes time as well. But yes, we.
We've just recently done another interview back.
Okay, don't.
I'm not gonna spoil it though. We haven't released it.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Okay. All right, we're good. I know you're jumping with joy.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what type of episode we're recording. Let's say if we're doing a review of, for example, Obi-Wan, we watch the episodes at least twice. Sometimes we watch it a second time to get something out of it the first time.
Yeah, then we gotta watch it, and then the second time we're watching it, and as we're watching it, we're taking notes from the iPads.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say between the time we watch the episode and the time we record it, I would say between 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, actually, that's right.
Yeah. And then not including the editing, which takes another day.
Oh,
And
no,
then
editing
the
takes
editing-
1 to 2 days.
Yeah.
I
right.
mean, it depends on what you use. With the iMovie, it was dragged out because you were getting the same tools you will with the more advanced software like
Yeah.
CapCut, which is much easier to edit with.
Yeah. So that takes time too. And then the promotion and
Yeah, because Bob does
uploading
all
the
the promo
socials,
stuff
yeah.
on the socials. I'm converting the video to audio and then releasing the audio to all the audio platforms. We have an app that can do all that for us. We just got to send it to the app, and then it shares it out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Audible, Amazon Music. Somehow it's on Amazon Music.
yeah,
Yeah,
I guess it takes time.
but we get it. We get there. We get it done. Any other questions?
Yes.
Outside of like George Lucas or some of the big stars, who would be like your dream interview to have on your podcast?
That's a good question.
Who do you think?
What? Dave Filoni.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Dave
Yeah.
Filoni.
Yeah.
We gotta have him on.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because I mean, he's been in like every celebration panel
Mhm.
so far.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so busy. I mean, he's
Yeah,
like-
maybe we could get him on the podcast.
Yeah. 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 Dave Filoni, Pedro Pascal, maybe.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
We have to have Pedro Pascal on the podcast.
Exactly.
The Mandalorian.
Yes. That's
Oh,
exactly
yes,
right. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. There's quite a few, but those are the top two, I would
Yeah.
say. Right?
Okay.
Anybody else?
Any
No.
other questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of Celebration so far, other than your podcast?
I think it was the Bad Batch panel. I have to say the Bad Batch panel. Getting to see the trailer for the first time, I lost my mind. I started screaming at the end. I nearly lost my voice.
Yeah. Same for me.
I wouldn't have been able to do the podcast.
Right?
Yeah, I was
I
worried.
lost my
Like,
voice.
they're like, calm down, Keith, calm down. Like, work on my voice. Yeah. Yeah. The Bad Batch panel, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, we were fans from the very beginning, so
Yep.
we were just so happy to be
We
at the
were always
panel. so-
behind the Bad Batch idea.
Exactly. Yes.
You painted a great picture with Amber talking the loop.
Yes.
Which one is your pilot? Not that you need to know, you're so young, but what are you eyeing in the future for yourself?
Okay, I got a lot of ideas. So, one, I want to be a Lego designer, and two, maybe I could work for Mojang because they made Minecraft. I really want to do that stuff. I also want to be like an app designer, maybe, because it's always been fun for me, you know, playing all these games. And I thought, hey, why not make my own? And also a Minecraft YouTuber. Those four things are things that I really want to do. Yes, and also a writer. That's the fifth thing. I write a lot of books in my spare time. I wrote on the plane here. So I do that too. Any other questions? Oh, yes?
Are there any Star Wars stories that you keep coming back to, and why?
The Adventures of Wild Space books. And I have to say that's because, let me set the story up for you. So there's these two kids named Lena and Milo, and their parents are just all of a sudden taken by the Empire. So they also have a droid and a Kowakian monkey lizard. So the four of them go on all these adventures to eventually try to find their parents and bring them back. And these are kids, they're 10 and 11. So they have to go through all of this to find their parents. And I think I related to that because, you know, just to see these kids out having fun galactic space adventures, it seemed like something I would want to do. In fact, I do want to do it. I just can't get my hands on a NASA spaceship currently, but it's in the works.
That's good.
What about you, Dad?
Yeah. So I talked about Return of the Jedi, and that was my favorite film for a very long time. But then as I got older, I actually got more into The Empire Strikes Back because I liked the character study. I like, the religious aspect of it, the political aspect of it. Every time I watch it, I just get something more out of it. And I'm learning about Luke's journey much more. And I'm loving the scene when he is introduced to Yoda And it's to me, it's a spiritual moment for me, not to get too far into it, but I just love that scene. And every time I watch it nowadays, it brings me to tears, just watching Yoda preaching, to me, he's giving a sermon to Luke about the Force, what the Force is, something that, believing in something that you can't see, and Luke didn't have that belief. He needed to see it to believe it, right?
Because he wasn't fully into it, because he was like, the Force, so this is weird.
Yes.
I mean, how can you lift an X-Wing without even touching it?
Right.
And then Yoda's like, you don't have faith, do you?
Right.
And then lifts the X-Wing right out of the water.
Right.
And then it's like, try again.
Yeah, it's just like a story out of the Bible,
Yeah.
It's very biblical, I like it, I love it every time I see it, and it just moves
Yeah,
me.
such a great scene.
Yeah, so I watch The Empire Strikes Back over and over and over,
Anybody, any other questions?
All right.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because it's time. It's already 2:58.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm clapping for myself.
you. Yes, may the Force be with you always. Take
Yeah.
care, enjoy the rest of the afternoon.